Hi, welcome to part 2 YNW Melly versus Kanye West. We had some storage overload problems just recently, so we have to do a part 2. But
Yeah, we didn't feel like restarting the conversation because it was too stupid of a conversation in the first place. Because anyone in their right mind knows that Kanye is the better artist.
Yeah. But I'm the underdog here in this conversation, and I have to make my point. So
No, you're the clinically insane one in this conversation.
Kanye could be clinically insane, and he's a genius.
Not insane. He does have bipolar disorder.
And he might have other. I don't know if he's been like.
That's the only one that
clinically
he's
checked.
come out and said that, as far as I know.
Yeah, who knows? He might be hiding a lot of shit behind those curtains, man.
Well, he's very eccentric. He strongly supports what he believes in, and he's never afraid to talk about whatever's on his mind, which can be dangerous for him, and it can also help as far as him being so genuine can win the support of people. I mean, I think you saw with the whole slavery thing, it got him in trouble because he said something that was just really outlandish that borderline no one has said, and it makes it difficult for his fans, but at the same time, at least you know that he's saying what's on his mind and it's not just a load of bullshit that he's just shoveling into your ears.
Interesting, but sometimes it's not always best to put out crazy, weird thoughts you may have had. Just like if you don't believe in evolution, it's probably not the best idea to put it out there, as the mass majority of scientists have proven that evolution, micro and macro evolution, is a real thing. But we're getting off topic here.
Yeah.
Back to my initial point of Melly had Murder on My Mind, Blue Balenciagas, the one with Kanye himself, mixed personalities, and now he's just at 223s, which is blown up as well. And this is just in a year length, from about October 2018 to October 2019. We have seen this massive growth. Will we sustain this growth to become a legendary status in the R&B/hip hop community? We will have to see, but he has grown.
So first off, I'd like to address the obvious that it's going to be tough for him to make it anywhere, considering the fact that he is currently in jail, which as far as I remember, he did write Murder on My Mind and Blue Balenciagas while in jail, but the question is, will he be out anytime soon to release songs that he might be writing now? Because his case is not a small one. He's being charged with a double homicide of two of his friends, and then trying to cover it up in some other bullshit. But either way, I guess the only real fair comparison we can do is like the first year of Kanye's career versus the first year of Melly. And for me, the biggest difference between the two artists, along with a bunch of other major differences, but the biggest is just impact and actually being influential for the future. As far as Kanye in 2004, when he released College Dropout, just absolutely changed the direction of where rap was going. And that can be argued to a degree, but either way, he was doing something. He did something that wasn't being done at the time, and did it for a first album to a phenomenal degree. Won Grammys in not gospel, whatever genre. He won Grammys in for Jesus Walks. But you look at Melly, and he really doesn't stray too far away from the very, very beaten path of generic singing rap type of sound. I mean, not to say that he's not better than some. I think a huge part for Kanye is he's throughout his whole career, done things differently and tried to push rap forward, whereas Melly really hasn't shown any signs of actually innovating in any way.
I agree with that. So the cover the first topic on if he's gonna get out of prison. That is a serious debate, but I have heard that he has a really good lawyer, and this lawyer has helped several other rappers. I cannot remember their names, but any viewer can fact check this. He has helped other well-known rappers back in the past. This lawyer has helped these rappers escape murder charges and have gotten them back out free to release more music.
I just think that whole he might get out, he might not. I think it's kind of pointless. We don't have details inside the case. We can't predict what's going to happen. He gets out or he doesn't. I think that's a huge. The thing I was saying about that is the fact that he's been in and out of jail. Because personally, one of my other favorite artists is Kodak Black, and he has struggled with the same thing. I'd say to a larger degree, and it's really for him just prevented him from putting out more music, and I think it's in a way stunted his creativity, and I'm curious to see if Melly, if he, let's say, did get out, how he would transform in the future from being locked up.
Take a slight side note. I actually have an opinion that being in jail would actually help make you create more music.
Really?
Because being locked up gives you all the time in the world to write your own music. And as Melly said, he's written 150 songs in this 8 to 10 month period that he's been locked up. And I doubt he would have written that much had he been free this whole time. And it might inspire creativity more to see the different people in jails, to hear the different stories. He's got so much power in the jail rapping. I heard one of his old interviews, he would rap and get free cookies because people like his raps. They give him free cookies. But yeah, he gets to really talk to people and see people from different perspectives. But back on the subject of his talent-wise and subject matter when he raps, I do see a problem with his growth and maturity in his raps. He definitely has a capability of showing some emotion, like in Murder My Mind and Mama Cry, City Girls and No Heart. But it's still very basic level lyricism, especially compared to Kanye. And he has his gangster rap vibe has gotten almost old. But I mean, he's definitely been shown to be speaking some truth, as in he's been getting in a lot of trouble, and he shot up the high school that my brother goes to back when he was 16 in Vero. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think being genuine is a major thing as an artist, but also finding other topics to rap about. I mean, anyone can talk about the same thing over and over and just find different ways to say the same thing. I thought the Murder on My Mind song was good based on the fact that it's not like, oh, I'm out here killing everyone, blah, blah, blah. It was a story about accidentally killing someone that really affects you, and it showed a side to it that very rarely gets discussed. And it's okay. So this is Kayla, our team leader. She's
Your own podcast on YNW Melly versus Kanye West.
They both suck.
Oh.
Kayla listens to Justin Bieber
I do not.
and The Weeknd. The Weeknd is alright, I guess.
Yeah. But I will say on the topic of Kanye, this is an opinion I've yet to share with Cooper, so he'll be interested in this theory. But Kanye did show up in a time of drought of good rap, I believe, in 2004, before the era of before the era of Kendrick and J. Cole and Joey Badass and the other lyrical rappers, but after the era of Tupac, Nas, and Biggie. So it was a drought, and he was the first rapper to be accepted, not in the gangster rap, as Cooper has previously informed me on. So, but I think even if he was bad rapper, he still would have made an impact just because of his new take on rap and a different change of subject matter. And on Melly, I think it is kind of depressing that while he does show emotional strength in the songs like Murder My Mind and the ones I previously mentioned, he doesn't really seem to care about expanding his horizons. But in a sea, he's a he's a fish in a sea of fish. I don't know if that's the right expression, but there are many gangster rappers out there right now. But to me, he's one of the most unique ones with his voice. His melodies I always find entertaining and unique, and I feel he has real talent and potential to be like possibly the gangster Drake.
See, the thing I will say about gangster rap is I feel like it's dying in a way. I mean, you look at rap right now, and a lot of this artists blowing up are less street and like, I mean, Drake's obviously not street, and he's been the biggest streamer for years now. Post Malone, obviously, same thing. I mean, you look at artists coming up, Lil Tecca, he's a 16-year-old weirdo, which nothing against him. It just if you look at rap, it's more there's a few artists that are doing well strictly street. I mean, it's just I feel like rap is changing a lot in that way, and I personally attribute a lot of that to Kanye in a lot of ways, but there's definitely been outside factors and other artists that have pushed it further than Kanye did. But that's the other thing I think about Kanye, as far as he came out in a time where you had your Jay-Z's, your Nas, your artists that were from the street and would talk about selling drugs, things of that nature. Whereas Kanye talked about family, religion, he talked about insecurities and things that were really not talked about in rap at all, and he had a different sound. He had a soulful, higher pitched chipmunk type of, I think that's what it's called, a chipmunk sound to it, where it just contrasted very well to everything else that was out, and it's been referred to as a breath of fresh air. I think another major part of it is the fact that he was producing for artists like Jay-Z, and to produce for someone in one style of rap and then come out with a totally different style yourself is what made him great early on.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I still feel J. Cole, Kendrick, and a few other rappers nowadays do what Kanye did, and still does today, better. Maybe not sound wise, but I feel lyrically wise, and to create a bigger impact emotionally in the listener. And so I feel it brings out the age-old question. I don't know if it's an age-old question, but I think this is a question for me. Who gets more respect, the one who did it first or the one who did it better?
Okay. I have a question. Who do you think, like, what artist would you name as having bigger emotional impacts than Kanye did, especially, I would say, in 808s and Heartbreak, but just in general?
I definitely feel Kendrick does with a lot of songs. Keisha's song, that's a very impactful.
But you're talking about a song. I'm talking about an album and over a discography. I personally don't think Kendrick is nearly as much of an emotion based artist that can elicit different emotions from people.
I still feel a lot of songs on Damn did, like the one where I can't remember the name, but he tells the story of how he became a rapper by coincidence was really interesting. I don't know. Yeah, that one didn't spark too much emotion, but Feel did. I just like individual songs from his discography. I think that a big difference between you and me is you look at projects as wholes and then judge them to different projects. I just judge songs. And I think that's because you've gotten into rap far before I did. So I just hear songs. I don't really listen to too many projects in whole. I just would scour YouTube when I was younger, listening to the songs, and stuck with the certain ones that stuck with me, type thing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I usually do one of two things. Either I'll listen to an album or I'll listen to a playlist, which I have a decent amount to choose from as far as playlists and plenty more to listen to as far as albums, but I think that as important as having good songs can be, I think it's even more impressive to have an album front to back that you really don't have a lot of mistakes and you have this theme that isn't too overwhelming but is maintained through the whole thing and can be, like, personally for me, 808s and Heartbreak, I find it maintains the theme of heartbreak, but it doesn't wear it out as far as the same emotion over and over. It's talking about different aspects of heartbreak, and that's one skill that, like, personally I haven't seen in Melly and I don't see in a lot of artists today. I think Kendrick with To Pimp a Butterfly, and personally I've always liked Good Kid, Mad City more. I think he does a great job with storytelling and keeping on a theme and working different angles of it. But personally, J. Cole hasn't ever really done that for me. I like some of his songs, but his albums haven't really front to back been anything that I go back to.
Well, I think this sums up the amount of points that we can make on this topic. I don't want to go too over long. I think the length that we've had is good. Cooper, do you think this is? Would you like to extend anything? I can't.
Well, the
tell
only
by
thing
your
is,
expression.
like, we really didn't discuss, like, we didn't really compare Melly to Kanye. We kind of just talked about some things that each artist does well and some. I mean, for Melly, I brought up a couple concerns and things I didn't like, but as far as, like, comparing them directly, like, what would you say causes you to like Melly more than Kanye?
Yeah, I've realized just like the argument or the discussion we're having, I'm kind of like David versus Goliath. My argument's almost futile because Kanye's got such a standing legacy, and Melly's such a new artist, and he definitely doesn't delve into different themes as much as Kanye. So it's hard for me to fight this battle here that I'm waging against you. But
you knew that coming into it, though. You even had said that.
Yeah, I did.
That there's not a whole lot you can say, and that's why it's like taking out like a majority of Kanye's albums, even if it's just College Dropout versus what's the name of his album again?
We All Shine.
We All Shine. Even just comparing those two, I don't think in any aspect it's too close. You're obviously allowed to disagree. You like Late Registration. I can't remember what you said about College Dropout, but
yeah, I haven't heard that one in a long time, but I just thought it was decent. But it was nothing. None of the songs were catchy enough for me to really go back to that much.
Yeah, and the other thing is, neither of us were rap fans during the time his earlier albums came out, so it's tougher to see as far as the context that they came out of. And I think that's a major advantage to Kanye as far as, like I said, having a bigger impact by having a more diverse sound than the rest of the genre. Whereas Melly, like I said, he might be better in certain ways, but he doesn't do a whole lot of things very differently.
Did you want to watch Princess Bride?
Yeah.
Yeah?
When are you watching it? We got a momentary pause real quick. We'll be back in 10 seconds. When are you starting this?
So I guess it makes sense that someone that likes Melly wants to watch The Princess Bride.
Oh yeah.
I think those two things definitely correlate.
Alright, I'm back. Princess Bride is a classic. Cooper sadly doesn't understand or
I don't even know
appreciate
what movie that
classics.
is.
Exactly, he doesn't know what it is.
It sounds a little fishy.
No, it's
a little
good.
sus, my guy.
It's good, but the reasons I like Melly more than Kanye is, I'll start with Kanye, but I'm not a huge fan of him. I just don't like his voice that much. I appreciate him going into different topics, and being emotional and speaking his mind, because I'm big on that. But I still feel other artists do that as well, and just better. And since I'm judging him today compared to other rappers, I have no like he did it first type thoughts in my mind where that might cause any sort of bias. And I do appreciate a lot of the beats and that he produces, but I judge more on the song as a whole, if it's catchy or not, and if it sticks. And I did like his lyrics a lot on this new album, even though I wouldn't listen to all the songs again. The lyrics are very interesting, how he kept it clean, and it was the first gospel album I've really listened to, honestly, and it was interesting in that regard. But I still listen to Melly songs over and over and over again. They're so catchy to me. I really like the vibes from them, even if he's talking about killing and murdering and doing horrible acts of violence upon enemies and stuff. But just the melodies and his voice and his passion and the talent I can feel like just from his voice when he's rapping. I really like that about him.
That's one other thing I do like about Kanye. There's a lot of artists I really do like that I just really can't relate to because I'm not from a situation even remotely comparable to them. Whereas Kanye talks about themes that I think a majority of people can relate to, and there are definitely things that he talks about that I can't, but they're, for the most part, even if I don't fully experience it, I can picture them to a much higher degree than most artists, especially like a Melly, where like I have never shot anybody, I've never considered shooting anybody, I've never had a reason to shoot anybody except ATL saying Melly's better than Kanye, but that's one of the biggest advantages to Kanye having such a diverse he just has very diverse talking points that most artists don't have, and I think it makes it easy to listen to different songs and albums by him because they all touch on different things that a lot of people can relate to.
I definitely understand that about relatability in the artist, and I do feel that sometimes when I'm listening about him saying all this shit, talking about his gang members and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't really have that stuff, but I like his beat, I like the vibe, I like the chorus, and that's really
Yeah, I agree with that.
points.
As I said, I really enjoy Kodak. I like Young Dolph, G Herbo, like a lot of artists that just grew up in situations that I can't even remotely relate to, and that talk about situations I can't relate to. But you find like ways to look past it, I guess.
Alright, you ready to end this?
So all in all, I think it has been established that Kanye is in fact better than Melly. But hey, if you wanna have a wrong opinion, it is America, so you're allowed to do that.
Yeah. To all you 5 or 6 viewers out there, leave your thoughts in the
5 or
comments.
6, we're at like 2 or 3 G.
Well, I mean, if you put it on your story and I put it on my story, we
I
only got 5 or
on my
6.
story.
Oh wow!
I want people to know that I even had a conversation with Stu.
Dang. Wow. Alright, I'll just drown in my sorrows. My friend, he won't accept that his friend is a Melly fan.
Friend.
And, okay. Alright, we'll end it there. Bye.